My friends, life is one of the greatest gifts ever placed into our hands. Every breath we take, every sunrise we see, and every moment we live is a gift we did not earn but were lovingly given. Too often, we rush through our days, caught up in our plans, our pressures, and our problems, forgetting that life itself is a divine invitation, a call to live fully, joyfully, and purposefully. To live life to the fullest is not about having everything the world offers, but about using what God has given with wisdom, gratitude, and love. First, we must recognize the sheer wonder of being alive. So many people exist, but few truly live. Living fully begins when we open our eyes to the blessings that surround us, the laughter of loved ones, the strength to stand another day, the peace that comes from knowing we are not alone. Every new day is an opportunity to grow, to love, to forgive, and to become more of who we were meant to be. Life is not a race to be finished, but a gift to be cherished. When you see your life as a divine gift, you begin to treat every moment with sacred care. Secondly, to live fully, we must discover our purpose. There is no fulfillment in drifting aimlessly through life. We were not created by accident. We were designed with intention. Each of us has a calling, something that only we can do, a purpose only we can fulfill. Living to the fullest means waking up each day with direction and passion. Ask yourself, why am I here? What is it that God wants to do through me? When you live in alignment with that purpose, life becomes more than routine. It becomes a journey of meaning and spiritual joy. Thirdly, living fully means walking by faith, not fear. Life will always bring uncertainty, disappointment, and seasons of difficulty. But faith is the light that guides us through the unknown. It is trusting that even when you cannot see the way, God already has a plan. Fear keeps us small while faith calls us higher. Many people never experience the fullness of life because they're too afraid to step beyond what is safe or familiar. But true living requires courage. The courage to follow where God leads, even when the path isn't clear. Fourth, living life to the fullest requires a heart of gratitude and contentment. We live in a world that constantly tells us we need more success, more possessions, more recognition. But fullness doesn't come from accumulation. It comes from appreciation. When you learn to thank God for what you already have, your heart becomes lighter, your mind becomes clearer, and your joy becomes deeper. Gratitude turns the ordinary into extraordinary. It transforms every moment, no matter how small, into a reason to rejoice. Life itself is a gift far greater than we often realize. Every beat of your heart, every breath that fills your lungs, every sunrise that graces the sky, it all speaks of the grace and generosity of the one who gave it. Yet many live as though life is something to be endured, not something to be embraced. To recognize the gift of life is to awaken to the reality that you and I are here on purpose, not by chance. We are not accidents of time, but intentional creations of a loving God. Every day we are given as another page in the story He is writing through our lives. When we begin to see life through that lens, ordinary moments become sacred, and even the simplest experiences carry eternal meaning. Think about how easily we take time for granted. We rush through our days, chasing schedules, achievements, and possessions, rarely pausing to consider the miracle of simply being alive. But every morning you open your eyes is a sign that God still has something for you to do, someone for you to bless, a lesson for you to learn. The gift of life isn't just about existence, it's about opportunity. The opportunity to grow, to love, to forgive, to begin again, no matter what has happened in your past. As long as you have breath, you have purpose. You have the chance to live differently, to live better, to live fully. Recognizing life as a gift shifts the way you live it. Instead of complaining about what you don't have, you begin to thank God for what you do. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? You begin to ask, what can I learn through this? Gratitude becomes your attitude, and peace begins to fill your soul. You realize that life isn't measured by how much you accumulate, but by how much you appreciate. It's not about how long you live, but how deeply you live. Every day, no matter how routine or quiet, can be filled with purpose when your heart sees it as a divine opportunity. There are many who waste their lives waiting for someday. Someday they'll be happier. Someday they'll be thankful. Someday they'll start living. But someday is not promised. All you have is today, this moment, this breath, this chance to live with joy and intention. The greatest tragedy is not death itself, but living without ever truly living. To recognize the gift of life means to live awake, to see beauty where others see burden, to notice grace where others see nothing at all. So Open your heart to the wonder around you. Look up at the sky and see the artistry of the Creator. Listen to the laughter of those you love and know that it's a sound worth cherishing. Take time to breathe, to pray, to thank, to feel. Because the more you recognize life as a sacred gift, the more fully you begin to live it. And in that recognition, you'll find joy not dependent on circumstance, but anchored in gratitude. To live life to the fullest, one must discover their purpose. Without purpose, even the most successful life feels empty, while with it, even the simplest life feels rich and fulfilling. Purpose gives meaning to our moments, direction to our choices, and strength to our struggles. You and I were not created by chance. Every life is a deliberate design crafted by divine wisdom for a specific reason. When we live disconnected from that purpose, we wander aimlessly, busy but unfulfilled, active but without peace. But when we begin to seek God's direction and understand why we are here, everything about life begins to change. Purpose is not found in possessions or status. It is found in alignment with what God has placed inside you. He has given each of us unique talents, passions, and opportunities that point toward our calling. Sometimes it takes quiet reflection to uncover it. Sometimes it takes pain, failure, or loss to awaken it. But make no mistake, your life was never meant to be wasted or directionless. You are here to make a difference, to bring light where there is darkness, to love where there is hatred, to heal where there is hurt. Purpose is what turns existence into significance. Many people spend their lives chasing things that cannot satisfy: money, recognition, or comfort, believing those things will bring fulfillment. Yet when they achieve them, they still feel a deep emptiness. That emptiness is the absence of purpose. You see, we were made for something eternal, something greater than ourselves. The true measure of a full life is not how much we've earned, but how much we've poured into what matters most. When we live with purpose, every task, no matter how small, becomes meaningful. Whether you are leading a company, raising children, studying, or serving others, if you do it with the heart to honor God, your life carries weight that echoes beyond this world. Discovering your purpose is not always easy. It often requires listening more than speaking, trusting more than seeing, and obeying more than understanding. But when you sincerely ask, Lord, what do you want my life to accomplish? You invite divine clarity into your heart. God never leaves a sincere seeker without direction. He may not reveal the entire path at once, but He will show you the next step. And as you walk in obedience, that path becomes brighter, your confidence grows stronger, and your peace runs deeper. To live a life of purpose is to live a life that matters. It is waking up each morning knowing that your time is not your own. It is a gift to be used for something greater. When you live guided by purpose, even hardships take on new meaning, for you understand that they are shaping you for something important. Your purpose is not just about what you achieve, it's about who you become in the process. So don't drift through life waiting for purpose to find you. Seek it, pray for it, and when you find it, pour your whole heart into it, because only then will you know what it truly means to live life to the fullest. To live life to the fullest, one must discover and embrace their purpose. Purpose is what gives meaning to existence. It is the compass that directs our steps and gives every effort value. Without purpose, life becomes a cycle of empty days, full of activity but lacking fulfillment. Many people drift from one thing to another, searching for something that will satisfy them. But until they understand why they were created, nothing will ever feel enough. You see, life without purpose is like a ship without a rudder. It moves, but it never truly arrives anywhere. But when you begin to live with a sense of divine purpose, your path becomes clear, your burdens become lighter, and your heart finds peace. Every person was created with intention. There is no one else on earth exactly like you, no one with your exact combination of gifts, personality, and experiences. That uniqueness is not accidental. It is evidence that your life has a specific assignment. Purpose doesn't always announce itself in loud or dramatic ways. Sometimes it's found in quiet faithfulness, in the way you love your family, serve others, or use your skills to make a difference. The key is to seek it earnestly. Ask yourself, what has God placed within me that the world needs? The answer to that question will guide you toward your purpose. Discovering purpose is not about pursuing personal ambition, but about aligning your life with something eternal. The world tells us that success is found in wealth, power, or recognition, but those things fade. True purpose endures because it's rooted in something greater than self. It's about fulfilling what the Creator designed you to do. And the moment you begin to live in that design, something awakens inside you, a sense of peace, fulfillment, and direction that nothing else can give. Sometimes discovering your purpose requires patience and faith. You may not see the full picture right away, but purpose often unfolds one step at a time. Each experience, even the painful ones, is part of your preparation. The challenges you face, the disappointments you endure, and the lessons you learn all shape you for what you're meant to do. What may seem like a detour is often the very path that leads you closer to your calling. Purpose is not found in comfort. It is revealed through perseverance and trust. Living with purpose means living intentionally. It means waking up each day knowing that your time, your energy, and your abilities are not to be wasted, but to be used for something meaningful. It's about living in such a way that when you look back, you can say, I gave my best to what mattered most. A life of purpose brings clarity amid confusion, hope amid hardship, and joy amid uncertainty. When you live according to your purpose, you no longer chase after fulfillment. You carry it within you. And that is the essence of living life to the fullest, to walk every day in the direction of the purpose for which you were created, knowing that in doing so, you are right where you are meant to be. To live life to the fullest, one must learn to walk by faith and not by fear. Fear is one of the greatest thieves of joy, opportunity, and peace. It whispers that you are not enough, that failure is inevitable, and that the unknown should be avoided. Faith, on the other hand, reminds you that you are never alone, that God is greater than any obstacle, and that even in uncertainty, His plan is unfolding. The difference between those who merely survive and those who truly live often comes down to this: whether they allow fear to control them or faith to guide them. Life is filled with moments that challenge our trust. There are times when the path ahead is unclear, when circumstances seem unfair, and when the future feels uncertain. In those moments, fear tries to take hold of the heart. It tells us to retreat, to give up, or to settle for less than what we were made for. But faith calls us forward. It calls us to believe that what we cannot see is still in God's hands, and that what we do not understand is still part of His plan. Walking by faith means stepping out even when the outcome isn't visible, knowing that the one who leads us never fails. Many people miss the fullness of life because they live imprisoned by fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of change. They build walls to protect themselves, but end up trapping themselves inside. Yet life was never meant to be lived in confinement. It is meant to be lived boldly, courageously, and freely. Faith gives us the strength to take risks, to move forward despite our doubts, and to face the unknown with confidence. When your faith is greater than your fear, you begin to see challenges not as threats, but as opportunities for growth. Faith does not mean everything will be easy or that you will always understand what's happening. It means trusting even when you don't understand. It means believing that every closed door, every delay, and every disappointment has a purpose behind it. Sometimes faith is simply holding on when everything in you wants to let go. It's choosing to believe that light still exists even when the night feels long. When you live by that kind of faith, peace begins to replace anxiety, hope replaces worry, and strength replaces weakness. To walk by faith is to live with assurance that you are guided by divine wisdom. It is living with confidence that no matter where you go, you are not walking alone. God goes before you, walks beside you, and remains behind you. Fear loses its grip when you realize that your steps are ordered by a power greater than yourself. And when faith becomes your foundation, you no longer live cautiously. You live courageously. You embrace life with open hands and a trusting heart, knowing that even if you cannot see the whole path, the one who leads you can. And that trust allows you to live life not merely safely, but fully. To live life to the fullest, one must learn the art of gratitude and contentment. In a world that constantly tells us we need more to be happy, more money, more possessions, more recognition, it's easy to lose sight of what truly matters. But true fulfillment is not found in abundance. It is found in appreciation. Gratitude turns ordinary days into blessings, small things into treasures, and routine moments into sacred experiences. When the heart learns to give thanks even in the simplest circumstances, life begins to overflow with peace and joy. Many people spend their lives chasing after what they don't have, believing that the next achievement or possession will finally make them happy. But the truth is, happiness that depends on what's outside of us will always fade. Gratitude shifts the focus from what's missing to what's already present. It teaches us to see beauty in the small things: a warm conversation, a meal on the table, a roof overhead, the sound of laughter, or the peace of a quiet morning. The more we notice these blessings, the richer our lives become. Gratitude doesn't change our circumstances. It changes our perspective. It reminds us that even when life isn't perfect, it is still filled with countless reasons to be thankful. Contentment is the natural companion of gratitude. It is the quiet peace of knowing that what you have, where you are, and who you are is enough for this moment. It doesn't mean you stop striving for growth or improvement. It means you stop living in the restless comparison that robs your joy. Many people look at others' lives and feel like they are falling behind, but comparison is the thief of contentment. When you measure your worth by what someone else has, you miss the beauty of what God has given you. Contentment allows you to celebrate others without feeling less yourself. It frees you to enjoy life as it is, not as you wish it would be. Gratitude and contentment don't come naturally. They are choices we must make daily. There will always be reasons to complain, just as there will always be reasons to give thanks. The difference lies in what you choose to focus on. When your heart is filled with gratitude, worry begins to lose its hold. You realize that no matter how much or how little you have, you are still blessed beyond measure. Gratitude doesn't wait for everything to be perfect. It gives thanks even in imperfection, knowing that every breath, every opportunity, and every trial carries a purpose. Living with gratitude and contentment is living with freedom. It frees you from the pressure to keep proving yourself, the anxiety of wanting more, and the emptiness of never feeling satisfied. It invites peace to dwell in your heart and joy to overflow from your life. When you can look around and say, "This is enough and I am thankful," you begin to live life the way it was meant to be lived, fully, joyfully, and with a heart at rest. To live life to the fullest, one must build meaningful relationships. Life was never meant to be lived in isolation. We were created for connection, for companionship, for love that goes beyond words and actions that reach beyond self. No matter how successful, wealthy, or talented a person may be, life without deep and genuine relationships feels empty. The heart was designed to give and receive love, to share burdens, celebrate victories, and walk through seasons together. The measure of a full life is not found in what we accumulate, but in the love we give and the people we touch along the way. Too often, people get so caught up in their personal ambitions and daily routines that they neglect the very relationships that give life meaning. We spend time chasing goals, but forget to cherish the people who walk beside us. Building meaningful relationships takes intentional effort. It means slowing down long enough to listen, to understand, and to care. It's not about how many friends you have, but how deeply you connect with the few who truly matter. Real relationships are built on honesty, forgiveness, patience, and sacrifice. They are not perfect, but they are real, and that makes them valuable. One of the greatest gifts you can offer another person is your presence, your undivided attention, your compassion, your genuine concern. In a world where everyone is busy and distracted, being truly present is rare and powerful. Sometimes people don't need advice or solutions. They just need someone to care, to sit with them in their pain, to rejoice with them in their joy, to remind them that they are not alone. When we love people with sincerity and kindness, we reflect something far greater than ourselves. We reflect the love that God continually shows to us. Meaningful relationships also teach us humility. They remind us that we cannot do everything on our own. There will be seasons when you need the strength of others to lift you, and there will be seasons when someone else will need your strength. That's the beauty of connection. It's a continual exchange of grace. When you give love freely, you discover that your life expands beyond its boundaries. You begin to find purpose not in what you gain, but in what you give. Forgiveness is another vital part of maintaining relationships. People will disappoint you, misunderstand you, or hurt you, but holding on to resentment only poisons your heart. Forgiveness sets you free. It allows love to flow again. True living involves loving deeply, forgiving quickly, and never letting pride stand in the way of peace. At the end of life, it won't be your possessions or achievements that matter most. It will be the people whose lives were touched by your kindness, your patience, and your love. So take time to nurture the relationships that matter. Speak words that build up, listen with empathy, and give with a willing heart. Because when you live a life filled with love for others, you are not just existing, you are living fully, beautifully, and purposefully. To live life to the fullest, one must live with eternity in mind. Everything we see in this world, our possessions, our successes, even our struggles, is temporary. Yet many people live as though this life is all there is, chasing what will one day fade away. Living with eternity in mind means recognizing that our time on earth is short, but what we do with it echoes forever. It means living each day with the awareness that our actions, choices, and attitudes are shaping not only our present life, but also our eternal destiny. When you live with eternity before you, your priorities change, your perspective deepens, and your purpose becomes clear. So many of us get caught up in the noise of daily living, pursuing comfort, recognition, and control, forgetting that these things have no lasting value. They are like sand slipping through our fingers. But when we begin to focus on what will last forever, faith, love, truth, and service, we begin to live differently. We start measuring our days not by what we accomplish for ourselves, but by what we contribute to others and how faithfully we walk with God. Living with eternity in mind brings clarity to confusion, calm to chaos, and hope to hardship, because you know this world is not your final home. When you remember eternity, you stop wasting time on things that don't truly matter. The small offenses, the temporary disappointments, and the worldly competitions begin to lose their hold. You start to ask, how will this choice look in the light of forever? That question alone has the power to reshape your decisions. It reminds you to love more freely, to forgive more quickly, and to serve more willingly. The eternal perspective gives weight to your moments. It turns an ordinary life into one of eternal significance. Living with eternity in mind also gives peace in times of suffering. Life will not always be easy. Pain and loss are part of the journey. But when you view your trials through the lens of eternity, you realize they are not the end. They are only part of the preparation for something greater. Every tear, every struggle, and every waiting season can be used by God to strengthen your character and deepen your faith. The storms of life are temporary, but the lessons they bring have eternal value. A life lived for eternity is a life lived with integrity. It is a life that seeks to please God rather than people. It values faith over fame, purpose over popularity, and obedience over convenience. When your eyes are fixed on what is eternal, you no longer fear what is temporary. You live boldly, love deeply, and serve joyfully, knowing that every act of kindness, every word of truth, and every step of faith will one day be remembered in heaven. So live not just for today, but for forever. Let your choices honor God, your words encourage others, and your actions leave a legacy of love. When you live with eternity in mind, you begin to taste the fullness of life here on earth while preparing your heart for the life that never ends.